The saga of the Black Seminoles finds its roots in the oppressive plantations of the British Carolinas. These vast agricultural landscapes, cultivated with the forced labor of enslaved people, became the backdrop for a yearning for liberation. It was a place where enslaved Africans, burdened by chains and stripped of their basic human rights, dared to dream of freedom, envisioning a life beyond the reach of their oppressors. Whispers, carried on the wind and passed in hushed tones, began to spread of Spanish Florida, a land to the south, offering a glimmer of hope. It was a place where in 1693, King Charles II of Spain issued a royal decree, promising freedom and sanctuary. This promise extended to any enslaved person who managed to escape the clutches of British plantations and pledged their unwavering loyalty to the Spanish crown. This bold declaration was not solely an act of benevolence. It was a strategic move carefully calculated by Spain to undermine the growing power of the British colonies to the north. It was a calculated political maneuver, designed to weaken their rivals, not just an act of mercy or compassion. The journey south towards freedom was fraught with peril, a dangerous trek through uncharted wilderness, but the burning hope of liberty, the vision of a life free from bondage, proved to be a force stronger than the fear of the unknown. Many escapees, particularly those from the Gullah community, carried with them invaluable skills and a rich cultural heritage that proved essential in helping them not only survive, but also thrive in their newfound freedom. Recognizing the strategic importance of this growing free black population, in 1738, Spain made a significant move and established Fort Mose. This fortified settlement became the first legally sanctioned free black town in what would eventually become the United States of America. Fort Mose was strategically located just north of the established Spanish city of St. Augustine. Here, the formerly enslaved individuals came together to build a self-governing community, establishing their own laws and customs. They actively defended Florida from British incursions, demonstrating their commitment to their new home. The residents of Fort Mose proved to the world that black people, when given the opportunity, could not only survive but flourish and thrive in an environment of freedom and self-determination. Fort Mose quickly became a beacon of hope and inspiration for enslaved people throughout the British colonies, a tangible and living challenge to the very foundations of the slaveholding colonies that lay to the north, a testament to the power of freedom and self-determination. As more Africans, driven by the yearning for freedom, escaped to Florida seeking refuge from the oppressive conditions of slavery, they established maroon communities deep within the vast and untamed wilderness, creating havens of self-determination. These settlements became symbols of resistance and hope. These communities were intentionally located far from the reach of colonial control, ensuring their autonomy and safety. These Cimarrones, as they were known, soon encountered various native groups, including the Creek, Yamasee, and others, who were also fleeing the relentless westward expansion of American settlers and the encroachment upon their ancestral lands. United by shared experiences of displacement and a common desire for self-preservation, they collectively formed the Seminole tribe, united by a powerful desire for freedom, survival, and the preservation of their distinct ways of life. The Black Seminoles, an integral part of this alliance, lived in their own distinct villages, where they elected their own leaders, fostering a sense of self-governance and community empowerment. They paid tribute to the Seminole tribe for protection, solidifying their alliance and mutual support. But in all other aspects, they remained autonomous, managing their own affairs and maintaining their unique cultural identity. Unlike the brutal system of plantation slavery, their relationship with the native Seminoles was fundamentally based on mutual respect, shared values, and a strong alliance against common adversaries. They skillfully blended African and native farming techniques, languages, creating a unique linguistic tapestry, and spiritual traditions, forging a syncretic faith that honored both their African and native heritages. This cultural fusion resulted in the creation of a truly unique and vibrant culture. Black Seminoles often served as crucial interpreters and trusted advisors, playing a vital role in strengthening the alliance and fostering understanding between the different groups. For well over a century, this remarkable Afro-Indigenous confederacy thrived, demonstrating the power of unity and resilience. They stood firm, resisting outside control and fiercely protecting their hard-won independence. Their society stands as a rare and compelling example of Black autonomy, self-determination, and genuine multi-ethnic cooperation in the often turbulent landscape of early America. Together, against all odds, they built a powerful and enduring legacy of freedom, a testament to the human spirit on the Florida frontier. The existence of free black Seminole communities terrified Southern slaveholders. Florida became a magnet for runaways, undermining slavery's foundations and inspiring fear of rebellion. Slave catchers and militias raided Florida, clashing with black defenders and native defenders. Tensions escalated as the U.S. government, led by Andrew Jackson, launched violent campaigns to destroy these communities. The 1816 destruction of the Negro Fort sent a brutal message. The U.S. would not tolerate free black societies. After Spain ceded Florida in 1821, the Seminole Alliance faced relentless pressure to surrender their freedom. In 1835, simmering tensions finally boiled over, igniting the Second Seminole War, a conflict rooted in the insatiable desire for land and the abhorrent practice of slavery. Its true underlying aim was to dismantle the formidable black Seminole stronghold, a beacon of freedom in the Florida wilderness. The goal was to recapture those who had escaped bondage and cruelly re-enslave its people, tearing families apart and extinguishing their hopes for liberty. Black Seminole warriors, driven by an unyielding thirst for freedom, helped spark the largest slave uprising in U.S. history, a testament to their bravery and determination. They were not alone. They forged a powerful alliance, joining forces with native allies who shared their desire to resist oppression, and newly freed slaves seeking refuge and a chance at a new life. Leaders like the strategic John Horse and the fearless Chief Wildcat emerged as symbols of resistance, guiding their people through treacherous times. They masterfully used guerrilla tactics, turning the landscape into a weapon against their better-equipped enemy. Their deep knowledge of the Everglades, a labyrinth of swamps and waterways, allowed them to evade capture and launch surprise attacks. This intimate understanding of the terrain allowed them to consistently outmaneuver U.S. forces, frustrating their attempts to subdue the Seminole resistance. The Dade Massacre, a devastating ambush that decimated a U.S. Army detachment, and other significant victories sent shockwaves across the nation, stunning the public and challenging the government's narrative of easy conquest. These victories served as a powerful testament, proving the Seminole Alliance's unwavering resolve and their commitment to defending their freedom and way of life. For 7 long and arduous years, they fought the U.S. Army to a costly standstill, turning the Florida wilderness into a battleground that drained resources and tested the limits of military endurance. In doing so, they inflicted heavy losses on the American forces, both in terms of manpower and financial resources. Eventually, the sheer weight of overwhelming force and the sting of broken promises began to take their toll. The relentless pressure and the constant struggle gradually wore down the resistance, pushing the Seminoles to the brink of exhaustion. Many key leaders, vital to the Seminole cause, were captured through acts of treachery and deceit, undermining the Alliance's ability to effectively resist. Exploiting their vulnerability, the U.S. government offered false promises of freedom and security in exchange for surrender, preying on their desperation. By 1842, the Second Seminole War officially ended, not in a clear-cut victory for either side, but in a state of mutual exhaustion and the tragic forced removal of the Seminole people from their ancestral lands. The Black Seminoles' courageous fight for freedom and self-determination became one of the longest and most expensive wars in American history, a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict and the enduring power of resistance. Their unwavering resistance left an indelible legacy of courage, defiance, and the enduring pursuit of freedom against overwhelming odds, inspiring generations to come. After the war, the U.S. forced the Seminoles, black and native, west on the Trail of Tears to Indian Territory. The black Seminoles faced immediate betrayal. Slave traders and Creek owners tried to re-enslave them, with U.S. officials complicit. Their promised freedom was a lie. Courts and violence threatened their autonomy at every turn. Living under Creek slave codes, the threat of kidnapping and sale back into the South was constant. Despite these dangers, leaders like John Horse organized resistance and refused to submit. The Black Seminoles' spirit of self-determination endured, even as their community was dismantled. Searching for true freedom, they looked south, not to Florida, but to Mexico, where slavery was abolished. Their journey for liberty was far from over. In 1849, John Horse and Chief Wildcat led hundreds of black Seminoles and allies on a perilous 700-mile trek to Mexico. Facing raiders and slave catchers, they reached Coahuila, where Mexico welcomed them as border defenders. The Mexican government granted them land at Nacimiento de los Negros in exchange for military service. Here, the Mascogos rebuilt their community, blending African, native, and Mexican traditions. Their freedom was finally protected by law, and they thrived as farmers and warriors. In 1855, they repelled a Texas Ranger raid, securing their sanctuary. Some later served as U.S. Army Scouts, earning honors but again facing broken promises. Many returned to Mexico, where their culture and autonomy survived. The Mascogos' story is one of resilience and adaptation across borders. The Black Seminoles' legacy endures in Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and the Bahamas. In Nacimiento, the Mascogos celebrate Juneteenth and preserve their unique language and culture. In Texas, descendants honor the Seminole Negro Indian Scouts at a historic cemetery. In Oklahoma, Seminole freedmen still fight for recognition and justice. On Andros Island, Bahamian descendants keep Gullah traditions alive. Rediscovering their history has sparked a cultural revival, led by passionate descendants. The Black Seminoles' journey proves that the fight for freedom is complex, courageous, and ongoing, a story that reshapes our understanding of American history.